Maloney's Digest. Fuck up myself with this lad. The lad Malish. Say hello to the lads there, will ya? Oh ho ho here hey. Self in the buckle. The Mordra. Kajaska Mordra Malish hey. Some boy. What are you? Some boy. Oh ho ho here hey. Look at the eyes on him. Oh, Cactus Rider. Some man for the job. Leaming Murphy and he Craig. The corn Craig. What to do? I was gonna do one on the laptop earlier on. I was just like, couldn't be fucking Irish, man. It's just as well I got in with the phone, because I was gonna climb into the labba and go bobos. Have a nice little kip for myself. Who have we got in the house tonight? Alright, Manish. Fucking some boy, hey. Some boy. Any old crack? No. I was just looking at the nice bit of looting done up in Walgreens, man. I said it's a wild jack lad. I was looking at some Shawnee Thornton and he cracked Quato, a friend. That's me and Quato there. Myself and Uncle Quats just having a fucking chill session. Do you know what I mean? Just a bit of a chill session. I seem a bit too relaxed here now. I'll have to sit up a bit. Oh, that's better. Mikey J, how you know Mikey J? Any crack? I heard Mikey J is up there in fucking Glasgow at the old climate summit. The old climate summit there, where there's lads telling us we need to be taxed. We need to stop more lockdowns and stuff. Lads flying around in private jets, going to banquet halls, eating the fanciest of grub. Those old scummers in Buckingham Palace, fucking pecking nonsense is all they are, man. And they're right, manish. Yeah. Fucking the dog knows the crack, man. And they're right. I was just kind of gonna do a live stream, but I was just worried about that. I just thought talking shite about geopolitical events, and I was like, there's more to life than that, man. There's more to life than that. Lou, how you doing? You caught a live stream. Good to see you, mate. How's the crack over in there? Texas Flood, Stevie Ray Vaughan and the boys. Talking nonsense, says Mikey J. Shady Ganley, good to see you. How are you now, Martin? I'm alright, mate. I just feel very tired. Awful tired. I was gigging at the weekend and working last week. And then kids as well. I tell you, there's not much time for any creativity anymore. Hey, don't even get a chance to do live streams that often, because the man is absolutely sapped of the energy. And the right manish. You fucking knows what the crack, don't you, boy? Come up here to me. We'll have the crack. Hop up here. Come on. We got the two boys in. Two boys. The two boys. What do you think of the crack? The old clocks went back there. Did you notice? Did you? Did you notice the stretching evening now? It's getting dark awful early, isn't it? Oh. Cactus Rider. I hear the US had something like 50 vehicles in their motorcade, all hybrids and electric. Oh, the beast, man. I mean, it's such fucking nonsense. Going up there and, flying around. It's like Sting the time he was on Jeremy Paxman. And Paxman was asking him about his activism to save the indigenous folk of the Amazon. He was like, well, yes, Sting, you travel around the globe with an entourage of 90 people. I don't really think you should be lecturing anybody about the impact you have on the climate. And the right manish. Fucking knows the score, boy. Yeah, I just sometimes, look, I was pretty good at science. That'll tell you. But I kind of, the people are talking about carbon this, but isn't carbon the basis of all life on the planet? 85 in the caravan to the climate change convention. Yeah, it's just, I have to be wary about talking about this. But I had a conversation with someone at the weekend who got very pissed off about it when I brought it up, and I was like, why are you mad, bro? And he was like, but it's science. There's ice cores. I'm like, were you there when they drilled the ice cores? We were part of the expedition. It's just basically. Sometimes you think, have we all been fed a pack of shite since we were growing up? Education, media. I kind of there's a lot to be said for what you can see and judge using your own senses. I kind of can't be asked going on Twitter anymore. I just end up getting depressed at how fucking daft people are. Oisin Campbell, how are you getting on, Maloney? I'm alright, mate. Just a bit tired, man. A bit fucking tired, Oisin. Mandates. Oh, mandates. going around dating lads. I haven't really got anything prepared, but well, what can you do? It's the usual style. I was, but there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. Fucking Bill Gates is selling hamburgers, man. I don't want to talk about these assholes anymore. I'll tell you the crack though, involving the if you've seen the video regarding the fancy dress get up that I got there at the weekend, which was called the Unknown Phantom. I wore that up on stage and got a good laugh out of that. And then after a while, I was sweating like an onion, so I took it off. But yeah, the live music is good. I'm doing a good few live gigs and mixing comedy with music, so it's been good crack. What to say here, Jack Lad? I never used Twitter once in my life. Uh, yeah, I mean it's handy for having like if there's an event happening live and you want to know, if you got some people on the ground who can basically give you the raw unfiltered version of events as it happens. It's useful for that kind of stuff. But yeah, it can be tedious and annoying and just saps all of your creativity, which is a bit of a pain in the hole. But if you've got a bit of time just to DOS on a bus or something, throw on the old twit box there, man. Get into an argument with some easily fucking triggered people. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's funny. Like I was listening to Kings of Leon. There, I was having a drive the other day, and "You Somebody" that song came on. It was like I've been wandering around looking up and down, and all I see. I was thinking 2009 was a pretty good time. That was when like Hardy Bucks Storyland started kicked off, and myself and the boys were thrown into a whirlwind of small time celebrity on YouTube hood, and everyone was on a good buzz. And yeah, it was right before camera phones and being able to upload things instantly to your social media happened, and I think that was kind of like, how are you, Dennis? From down in Southeast London by Croydon, is it? Kent way job. But I think that it was when social media started kind of becoming ubiquitous, people being able to upload things. Like again, it's good or bad. Like I'm here chatting to you now, and it's 18 year on a Tuesday night, boy. You could be watching a plethora of stuff, but you're here watching the main man, 18. But we get the ball rolling. Ask me some interesting questions there about recent events or whatever the fuck, man. Ben Koffenberg, how you doing, mate? What about Zuckerberg and his new meta shite? I also quit Facebook like 6 years ago. It was awesome at first. Um, yeah, so I saw the promo to that, and I was just like, so people are just gonna be wearing headsets and looking at these views because they're probably gonna be living in tent cities, with like some sort of like solar panel station where you can, you know, charge your headset and your phone. I don't know, man. There's an awful lot in the real world that you could be doing, but things have become very very expensive. Um, the fucking price of diesel, it's like €2 a litre nearly over here. Tell you one thing, having a car in Stockholm is a fucking nightmare, man, and I say that just with a world weary, heavy heart. It's like they just try and I mean whoever invented car parks, like when the combustion engine first came about, and people needed to park their cars. People must be like whoever invented car parks and tickets must be like this is going to bring in a lot of money, an awful lot of money. It'd be grand if you had a fold up car that you could just, like you could, an electric powered thing you could just fold up into a kind of a 2 2 meter cube. But someone's got to invent it sooner. Saw the new Dune, was not disappointed. How did it? Good old Dune got Dune on DVD. Is that 2 per litre for the big D? It sure is, Cactus Rider. How did Dune compare to the David Lynch movie? That was your man. What's his name? Janowski. It was the guy who wanted it to be an 18-hour film. Did you watch any horror movies on Halloween night? No. But the daughter put on Coco, the Disney movie about Mexican lads trapped in the afterlife. And when I watched that movie about like the uh, Dios de Muertos or whatever you call it, who's your favorite, Musk or Bezos? Says Shawnee Dennis. Probably Musk. He's a bit cheekier. Bezos just looks like someone's just drawn a face on a light bulb. Um, he's been working out though, man. He's been working out. I heard he's got Ronnie Coleman as his PT now. Um, yeah, this film I was watching, a nice little Disney film, about a young lad who's finds himself on some mission to help out his depressed great grandmother, and his family hates music, and then it was so they go to like some off the mortal coil to another job. Elite Musk is an elite puppet. It says thriving in the Great Reset. Ah, yeah, of course he is, man. Where did he get all that coin from? Cometh the Martin. Immer Sim, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. We've got a nice little crew. Nice little crew here on the old phone box. But regarding the mortal coil now, I was thinking to myself, is this little kind of in the film Coco? Is this just for like Mexican lads? They blended in a bit of like Christianity with Mayans. It was quite interesting. You can't do anything in Ireland within the 19 passport. Well, I won't be fucking going back. I'll tell you that now for nothing. Even though it pains me very much to be away from my friends and family for that long. It's just I just don't want to go back, man. You know, I really do miss it. I've been thinking about maybe going back for Christmas for 2 weeks. But then I'd probably get really pissed off with just how arbitrary and foolish everything is. Northern Ireland, thankfully sound. Well, fair play. They got something right. Yeah, I remember getting into some sort of Reddit conversation recently about Ireland. They're saying, I was talking to my mother today, and she's like, "Oh, we're up to 3,300 cases now," and I was like, "People stop going for the tests, then the cases are it's a case demic." Like Stockholm, no bother. There's absolutely no restrictions. No one's talking about it. I think Ireland has just been held hostage by just sell out wankers. I mean, they're getting a touch out of it, man. They are getting a touch, and they're profiting off people's misery. Yeah, Ireland is like a depressed calf, says Aaron Byrne. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just I can't seem to be getting through to anyone over there either, and don't know. Apparently, Boris Johnson has come out with some new bullshit saying that anyone who talks ill about the old can face 2 years in jail. I find it very, very strange that Pfizer has gained 37 million in profits. Oh, here we go. Brought to you by Pfizer. Immersim, invest in Pfizer now before your false booster. No, Ogras, how you doing? Everyone's good, man. Thanks. Everyone's good. Yeah, it's just like, what did they do with the profits? It's like you can if you get that, if you have that much money at your disposal, you can buy anyone off, man. You can literally buy anybody off, and no one's gonna argue with it. Did you see that shit with Fauci was funding sandflies? They would take the vocal cords out of beagles, put their heads into a box which had netting in it, to have them devoured alive by sandflies. I mean, that is this is the kind of evil that is controlling the world. And when I talk about this kind of thing, people are like, "Oh God, he's going off on one again." But I think I probably said this before, but I feel like certain people are unsusceptible to hypnosis. And if you're watching TV and you're watching the news and it's the same thing on repeat, repetition, it's gonna go in. That's why I don't have the TV has not been plugged in for the last 7 years. I've enjoyed watching what I want to watch instead of watching what someone else has curated for me and managing the information I want. And look, at the end of the day, you should always strive to be a free thinker. Funny how Irish media missed that story about Lord Fauci, says Sean. Oh yeah, it is funny. The Irish media, man, it's like Pat Kenny. You know, he's just who brought to you by Pfizer. He must be getting a nice touch. Emma Sim, it's easier to fool the people than it is to convince them that they've been fooled. Mark Twain, absolutely. Good old Mark Twain. A lot of pearls of wisdom there. But I think a lot of it is it's like this conversation I had on Saturday night when your mum was getting really miffed. And I thought to myself, is if he had basically to accept one thing leads to a chain reaction of realizing that most things that you are led to believe is true is also a whole lot of bullshit. Paul Casey, it's been funny watching the plot being lost by media over Paddy Cosgrove calling out Leo. Tell me more. I am unaware of that. Dave, yo, Maloney's Digest. Good to see you, lad. Good to see you too, Dave. Yeah, man. I just I'm sorry that like sometimes I want to come in just and have a good laugh and talk about funny things, but it kind of feels like this last 2 years has been fucking stolen. And now, that you've got you've got Forbes, MSNBC, The Economist, Washington Post, all these like big lofty publications saying, oh yeah, the climate or the lockdown has been great for the climate, but it's not enough. We're gonna have to have climate lockdowns, and yeah, so that's how it's gonna be. It's gonna be. I mean, I was watching who's the guy who started off Extinction Rebellion, a long haired Yahoo. I was watching about 20 minutes of his Oxford Q&A, which wasn't so much a Q&A, it was just him, divulging things that he believed to be true. But the whole thing about the climate, which I find, Big Klaus, no, not Big Klaus, this, but it's just like it's 1.3 degrees. It's like, well, it's not something that people are going to be taking note of, but I think humanity is incredibly robust and versatile, and when people are talking about all of our resources in the world, we're running out and the world is overpopulated, it's basically it's we've got to change the way we consume. Like the amount of waste in the world is fucking insane. Like even like if you talk about fishing, like even off the coast of Ireland, they would have to throw away large amounts of whitefish just to meet the quota to drive the price up. It's the same thing about like keeping diamonds away in a mine or in a vault just to keep the price of them up so there's not so many of them in circulation. Can you think of the benefits of global warming for Ireland now? Oh, come here, there'll be lads just swimming in their togs in November. Apparently, every time a volcano erupts, it spews 500 years worth of man-made CO2 into the atmosphere. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, carbon is the basis of all life on the planet. If like Bill Gates is trying these machines out in Iceland at the moment where they actually suck carbon out of the atmosphere. A place like Iceland that doesn't really have much in the way of fertility because it's so far up, and it's I'm sure there's probably there may be rich soil from volcanic plains. I'm not sure. I've never been, but it doesn't really strike me as a place of green pastures. So if you're extracting carbon out of the environment, like plants, as far as I'm aware, photosynthesis through the electrons, or the photons from the sun going through the slits in the leaves, in photosynthesis causes the carbon to bind together. So, apparently during the times of prehistoric times, there was something like 5,000 parts. Look, I might be getting this wrong, but apparently there was 5,000 parts per mil carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which meant the world was greener and the animals were bigger. But I don't know. Stephen Kelly, whatever happened to the ozone layer? Was it fixed? Apparently they got a couple of lads from fuck, what's the name of the windscreen lads to go up and fix the hole. Like, who knows, man? I mean, it looks at the end of the day, like this is shit we've been told in school and in on TV. And we watch this and like, but like the more it's going on nowadays, like I never would have questioned it until it started getting so vehement, and the fact that people can't really have a discussion about it. Ugh, I don't know. Any other questions at all? I kept trying to look at my carbon footprint and I ended up walking into a tree. Good one. Couple of Polish lads on scaffolding plastered the ozone layer back together. Maloney calling out the baloney. You dropped this, King. Thanks very much. There's a lot of people who would disagree with us, though. A lot of people going, he's lost it, man. He's fucking Maloney. He took too many mushies, man. He smoked too many of the jig-jags, man. He's lost the plot. He's lost it. I'm just going to go and sit in my pod and eat mealworms now. They're class, man. Owen Gannon, a few boys from Ballintool used as popped balloon to try and patch it up. Martin, you've been cancelled again. Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of cancelled myself. I did a Corey Feldman. Do you remember Corey Feldman? He was like, if you really like what I do and you're a Corey fan, I'm off all social media now and you have to pay a subscription to find out about the world of choreography. What was the deal with Corey Feldman there a couple of years ago? He made a movie and he crowdfunded it. He wanted to make $14 million on the crowdfunder to tell everyone about the Hollywood abusers who had abused himself and Corey Haim. And then I think he managed to like raise $1 million, and everyone was like, okay, this is going to be like a really high-end documentary blowing the whistle and lifting the lid off serial offenders in Hollywood. And then he just made a movie, and then when he released the movie, he wanted to stream it as a once-off. And then he was like, I tried to stream it, but my attackers, they hacked the stream. But if anyone could find the link to Corey Feldman's dramatization about his hard experiences in Hollywood, drop it into the chat there. Did anyone dress up as Alec Baldwin for Halloween? Glengarry Glen Ross. Cactus Rider says they tried to say that it was only because he keeps long hours. Yeah, if you believe that. What was that about, Cactus Rider? No, okay, you're having a conversation with yourselves there. Fair enough. All right, here we go. Can't believe Biden actually fell asleep on live camera. I mean, I can believe it, but can't believe they actually showed it on camera. What was it that he said to the Pope? Apparently, he was giving a coin to the Pope, and then he said to the Pope, "You're the African American baseball player." The famous, I don't know what he said, but check it out. Boris Johnson's a twat as well, isn't he? He's just a useless. I mean, it just feels like himself and Biden, like these people are just lads who are put in there just as placeholders. So Prince Charles was there at the summit as well. And how can anyone? The Pope seems evil. I don't trust the Pope, man. I was talking to my mum. My mum's a devout Catholic, and I was like, I don't trust him. That's why you have to say prayers to them. God will forgive them. I was like, yeah, he's a wrongin', man. He's a wrongin'. See, that was only because Biden keeps long times between bathroom breaks, sometimes nearly an hour. That would be fine if he were a 1-year-old. He gets cranky if he hasn't had his afternoon nap. Papa Frank, he loves kissing feet. I heard he's got a subscription to Leg Show, a magazine that Tordoff had back in 15. Sparky, how you doing? It says here, rumour has it, Joe evacuated his bowel at the Vatican. Jerry Morrison, 95 to 96% of climatologists agree the Earth is warming up to dangerous levels. A runaway greenhouse effect doesn't mean swimming in December. It means Earth turning into Venus in under 2,000 years. Doesn't that comprise completely of gas? Corey Feldman performance on the Today Show was epic with his backup angels. Oh, mate, yeah, I've seen that. Apparently, he had them all just living in his house. And then he did a dodgy music video with, he was good mates with Sean Astin from Lord of the Rings. And he made a cameo. Strange some of the women were saying like he brought his child on the tour with them, and yeah, they all had to like look after him while he was off his mash. And P, how are you, Martin? Is the Hardy book still on the go? Yeah, I need to get back on it. It's just getting time. And how are you, Johnny Maguire? Hey, we're all living in Venus soon enough, babe. We're all living on Venus soon enough. But who knows, man? Maybe there's going to be some sort of fucking big natural disaster, like maybe like a solar flare or a super volcano from Yellowstone, or who the fuck knows, man? Like a couple of years ago, like I was very much like I'd be afraid about these kind of things. Comet Stevie Leonard, good to see you. I was a bit kind of like, oh man, yeah, geez, comets, asteroids, tidal waves, nuclear war. I'm kind of getting so fucking sick of it now. I'm just like, it's almost like we're living in a, we're basically avatars in some sort of Sims game, and I'm just kind of thinking, do you know what? Like, any fucking mad event like that, I'm kind of it'd be a bit of crack. Do you know what I mean? I'm like something where basically I think there's too much. I think the world is now top down. Everything is kind of locked in from the very top via the United Nations, via local governments, and then down to the county council, and then people on like community boards. And I kind of feel like maybe a good kick up the arse to humanity, just to throw all these, just to restart, just to kind of get away from all the mind-numbing bureaucracy. I was kind of thinking to myself today, like Sweden is it's basically, it's so micromanaged by the state. Like everything is done through your social security number here, and apparently it was a lot better in the 80s and 90s. But people who say like Sweden's a welfare state, I mean, like you get nothing for free in this fucking place, man. I'd say Ireland is more of a softer touch than Sweden, but it's just the amount of, it's like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where they go to see those big fat creatures, and they're all, it's just insanely bureaucratic. It's like that here. Apparently, when the tsunami happened, speaking of natural disasters, there was, all the other nations had just scrambled their emergency rescue teams out. And over here in Sweden, it was like, there was word of a tsunami. We need to sit and discuss what to do. Do we send people? I think it's time for a fika. Can we please get some wienerbröd and coffee in here and discuss it? And I don't know who it was, but I think it was maybe like Italy or somewhere. We're like, you got people dying out there, man. You fucking idiots. Go and send your people now. So they were basically, yeah, told just to get their people out there. And unfortunately, Sweden did lose quite a lot of people out there in the 2004 tsunami. Yeah, that was fucking mad. But yeah, that was just me rambling on about certain things. Probably some unpopular points of view there, but sure, fucking, what can you do? Like sometimes actually, you start questioning yourself, going, "What if I'm just a mad bastard?" But then you start looking at patterns over like many years. Like one thing I like to talk about is under the feudal systems, or under the landlord occupation in Ireland. You'd have these big stately homes that were just covered with huge windows, right? But then all of the people living in cottages who were tenants on the land had really small windows. And I was at this heritage centre in Swinford, Hennigan's Heritage Centre, and I was like, well, why, he got onto it, and I was like, well, why are the windows so small? And he goes, well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm about to tell you now. So he said, the expression daylight robbery comes from when they had tax on your windows. So that expression also, which comes from don't ever darken this door again, came from where your door would be split into two, and they couldn't tax the door because it was obviously a door. So they would leave the top half of the door open, and they would usually have a hook hanging by the entrance of the door where they would leave dockets. So any receipts or anything they have, or any business they would have done, would have been written on a docket and put on the hook. So the half door was a way of illuminating the house without being ripped off. But it makes me wonder what why was it that they had to pay, like the uninitiated, unwashed masses back in the day, why they had to have tiny windows? Were they saying, oh look, if you use up all this, if you have loads of windows in your house, you're going to use up the light from the sun. So in order to get around that, we need to tax you all. And then you look at these, these Georgian houses that are just completely covered in glass. And but if people have been like looking at them the same way they would look at like Bezos, firing rockets into the moon and taking his private jet to the climate summit. It's almost like people don't even question, like, oh, they can do that because they're loaded. Is this why we're all such pale bastards? Could be, Brian. The good old natural sun tax, may as well dirt tax. Well, I'm surprised they haven't done an oxygen tax. Yeah, that's probably going to be something along the way. See, the thing is, all this tax, right? It stops. There's a very small but very powerful word in the English language. No. And I think this whole ordeal of the last 2 years, especially Ireland, could have been avoided, and they could have been well on the way to economic recovery and liberty and freedom if people had just said no. But the thing is, they bring in all these experts, these people who are supposed to be experts, and when the TV says expert, then people there's a real negligence towards people trusting their own instincts, the gut feeling, what they see. Whether like there's the old saying, believe half of everything of what you hear and only half of what you see, and if it's not peer reviewed, then it's not true. A lot of people think, Archie, you need to give you lads the money and get the best Irish show back. I would love to get back and do a bit, but who knows? Like, who knows what's going on? I wouldn't mind being taxed if I knew it went on worthwhile things. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Um, like tax hikes, if you could see where it went, if there was a trail for where your individual contribution went, then you would be like, fair enough. Like here in Sweden, I mean, they do piss a lot of money away where they could be spending that on worthwhile things. But they do have good roads, but you pay for the roads. You pay for tolls. I mean, everything is, you have to pay for everything here. Like, the water tax was something, that was the last time Ireland got together and actually, and that was over 100 quid. But if people in Ireland could see how much they've actually had to pay in inflation, in stealth tax, in income tax, in customs and excise, it's funny. It's hard to conceptualize it. If someone was to give them this money and then put that into their pocket and go, oh, by the way, you owe us 60,000 euro. Yeah, then there would be war. It's like the time when my sister and her boyfriend years ago, they had a Fiat Punto, and I think it was just like a windscreen wiper had gone on the blink, and they took it into Fiat and they said, how much is it to get that fixed? They were like, oh, that'll be 250 quid. And they're like, 250 quid. So he went on YouTube and saw a video of how to fix it yourself. And all you needed to do is just put a washer worth 10 cent in yourself, and the job was done. So there's a lot of preying on people's lack of knowledge. Knowledge is power at the end of the day. Seems to be absolute reek of hypocrisy of Sweden for a progressive paradise, lest the WikiLeaks that revealed they used Iraq, Afghanistan, etc. as testing ground for weapons. Well, I think there was a lot of that actually in Iraq and Afghanistan with all nations. I mean, You know, if you look at historically speaking, um, it was always the graveyard of empires, the British Empire. Um, what's his name? Emperor. Colin Farrell played him in the movie. What's his fucking name again? I'm tired. Alexander. Um, yeah, it's always been a place strategically that's been, you know, Russia. That was like the beginning of the fall for Russia. But I think I don't know. Like America was in there for 20 years. I don't know what they accomplished other than being a geostrategic springboard for attacking Russia and China. CM Fox says, I never got that about Greta. It's illegal not to send your kids to school in Sweden. Homeschooling is illegal here in Sweden as well. You can't do it. The carbon tax is the worst, demonizing rural people. Well, those wankers, the Green Party in Ireland, were the ones who brought in the high car tax because they just assumed that everybody drove around in Porsche Cayennes and Range Rovers. But whereas like anybody who lives down the country, it would be practical for them to drive a 4x4, but they can't do that. So yeah, fair play to those wankers again. Um, Inflation, hyperinflation is being purposely created and will make all your cash worthless. Yeah, absolutely. That's what's happening right now. Alexandra, thanks very much for seeing, folks. Alexander said it's easy to march into Afghanistan, not so easy to march out. Yeah. No word of an investment plan for public transport. Yeah, I mean, like, when you think of the amount of money that like, okay, if you look at Ireland with the recession, where did that money go? Like I mean, you had people who were, you know, there was a construction boom that took the absolute piss, but where did it all go? What, like, you know, like they're talking about they can't have any more, they don't have any more ICU beds. It's like they've had 2 years to fucking get their shit together. After the recession, the Mayo Roscommon or the Roscommon General Hospital, the ER had to close. So how many people have died in those years of not having an emergency, an ER in Roscommon? And they're like, oh, you can't find staff to fill these ICU beds either. It's like, well, if Ireland hadn't been so fucking plundered, then all these young medical staff who are going to King's Cross Hospital in London would have been able to stay at home where they like. How many? Like, I never wanted to leave Ireland. Do you know what I mean? Like, and there's hundreds of thousands of other people who never wanted to leave home, but thanks to the absolute cunts that are in power, you know, who just sold us out. That's how it's always going to be. No Autograph says about Alexandra and Afghanistan. Some say the best road is the road out, but you have to use that road to get back in as well. Like, absolutely. It went in people's pockets by Tiger King coin. Savage Mantis. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, someone out there has got that. That's a lot of money, man. Someone has all that money. It's fucking sick. But that's me ranting anyway. I didn't want to this to turn into that, but I was going to do a stream last night as well, or the night before. I was just like, I don't want to bore people with my fucking middle-aged man's moaning about the state of the world. I don't want to fall into that trap of just being a begrudging lad for giving out. No, Savage Man is in Sweden, man. I'm in Sweden. Irish Red says income tax developed in England to pay for the loans of Rothschild for the Napoleon War. Oh yeah, and he had the Rothschild family had the fastest rider at the Battle of Waterloo, and when Napoleon surrendered, they had told everyone in the English Stock Exchange to put their money on Napoleon, and they won everything. And yeah, and I think then they had something to do with the War of Independence in America. I think with Hessian soldiers, and they had for every Hessian soldier that was killed, a mercenary, they got a certain amount of money for them. Can't really remember the details. Paul Casey says, can't help but feel a bitter cynicism about Irish politics, knowing that much won't change with Sinn Féin and whoever gets into government, and especially with that muck of an odd feast. Um, Napoleon moon, Napoleon coin to the moon. Do you know? Nothing will ever change. I think even if you get someone who is elected and they have all the best intentions going, I think they have a little chat is had with them. It's like, nah, this is how things are done around here. Rothschild has financed every side of the war for hundreds of years. When you think about it, right? I remember David Icke said, he goes, control one side of the game, you control the outcome. Control both sides, you control the game. That's just like, yeah, that makes sense. Joan Anderson, I just got news getting heart surgery in 6 weeks. Can I get a shout out while you're there? You are Jonah. Shit, man. Best of luck, mate. What's the story? Why are you getting that? I do wish you all the best, mate. We on the steroids, we those 1980s jobs. Yeah, Jonah, and yeah, everyone else in the chat, just throw your support there behind Jonah. I hope you make a full recovery, mate. But yeah, well, look, I'll hopefully I'll do another one. I'll do another live stream, maybe Friday night, and I'll have a bit more prepared. It'd be great to have. I mean, I know I can do it in StreamYard, but yeah, just I need to figure out how to get things up, and it'd be funny to like watch things at the same time, or like look at people's tweets and have a bit of a peruse around the net. But for all of you who've stuck it out, thanks very much for sticking with me. Loot Me to the Moon was the name of the bit of commentary on videos and that. Exactly, Sim, exactly. I saw a video of like two lads going into a Walgreens in Chicago today, and they're just like raiding the place for boxes of cigarettes, and they're doing it in apparently all the loads of Walgreens in San Francisco are they're just packing up and leaving because of this new legislation where if you're caught robbing like under a certain amount, you can just like would that work for me if I was to come over to like San Francisco and just go in and start taking shit out of the shelves? Can I get away with that as well? Because that'd be a fucking great holiday to the States. It was like coming back wearing designer gear with like loads of like biotherm skincare and just lovely sunglasses and watches, and people were like, "Jesus, Maloney, man, you fucking hell, did you win the lottery? Did you?" I was like, "Nah, man, I just went to San Francisco and fucking hit the old Walgreens up." Lulu says, saw a video of a guy in New York, I believe, throw a Molotov cocktail at a shop owner over an argument. Wow. Well, I saw a load of people throwing rubbish into Mayor de Blasio's garden. And look, the thing is, that one word in the English language, which is just no. No, I'm not doing it. And there's no harm in saying no. And it's something I need to do more in my life as well. When if something's not, if you're not happy about something and you don't want to go along with it, instead of going along with it begrudgingly, it's easy for everyone to just go, nah, don't do it. No. What do you mean no? I mean no. I'm not doing it. Sorry. I'm not doing it. And it's a situation that if people would just say yes means yes, no means no, things would be a lot easier. And this is going for myself. I mean, I'm fucking guilty of placating shit myself. But if that's one takeaway from this, just something there's no shame in saying no if you don't want to do something. I mean, within reason, like. But that's the takeaway from that. Hopefully, I will be doing another stream on Friday. So we'll see you there. So Friday night, probably about 11 Central European time, so it'll be about 10 in GMT, and wherever you're in the States, man, you add the hours onto that. But thanks very much for sticking around. I hope I didn't like get too fucking bogged down in world events, but sure, that's the way it is. But Friday night party, let's get on it and have a nice time, and I talk to you soon. Good luck and good bless.